From the PEP Radio Newsroom, this is the afternoon news for October 29th, 2025. These are the stories we are covering at this hour. The head of the UN nuclear watchdog told the Associated Press on Wednesday that Iran does not appear to be actively enriching uranium, but that the agency has recently detected renewed movement at the country's nuclear sites. Rafael Mariano Grossi, Director General of the International Atomic Energy Agency, said that despite being unable to access Iranian nuclear sites, inspectors have not seen any activity via satellite to indicate that the Islamic Republic has accelerated its production of uranium enriched beyond what it had compiled before the 12-day war with Israel in June. However, the nuclear material enriched at 60% is still in Iran. And this is one of the points we are discussing because we need to go back there and to confirm that the material is still there and it's not being diverted to any other use, Grossi said in an interview at the United Nations headquarters in New York. This is very, very important. Grossi said, however, that inspectors have seen movement around the sites where the stockpiles are stored. Without additional access, the IAEA has had to rely on satellite imagery, which can only show so much, he said. That stockpile could allow Iran to build as many as 10 nuclear bombs should it decide to weaponize its program, Grossi warned. Iran long has insisted its program is peaceful, but the IAEA and Western nations say Tehran had an organized atomic bomb program until 2003. Iran and the IAEA signed an agreement last month in Cairo to pave the way for resuming cooperation, including on ways of relaunching inspections of Iran's nuclear facilities. That has yet to be implemented. The agreement came after Iranian officials suspended all cooperation with the UN nuclear watchdog following the war with Israel, in which the U.S. struck several Iranian nuclear sites. In other news, Hurricane Melissa was grinding across Cuba on Wednesday, weakening to a Category 2 storm, after pummeling Jamaica as one of the strongest Atlantic hurricanes on record, the U.S. National Hurricane Center said. Hundreds of thousands of people in Cuba had been evacuated to shelters. A hurricane warning was in effect for Granma, Santiago de Cuba, Guantanamo, Holguin, and Las Tunas provinces, as well as the southeastern and central Bahamas. Melissa had top sustained winds of 105 miles per hour and was moving north-northeast at 14 miles per hour, according to the National Hurricane Center in Miami. The hurricane was centered 45 miles northwest of Guantanamo, Cuba, and 205 miles south of the central Bahamas. The agency warned that preparations for the storm in the Bahamas should be rushed to completion. The Trump administration has made 2026 Affordable Care Act health insurance plans available for enrollees to browse ahead of the start of the open enrollment period Saturday. Americans who live in states that use the federally facilitated marketplace can now use the healthcare.gov website to check the costs of next year's plans, which are expected to rise sharply next year because of increasing health costs and expiring subsidies that have made the plans cheaper for consumers. Window shopping was already available in many of the states that manage their own versions of the ACA marketplace. The unveiling of next year's plans comes after Democratic senators urged the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services to make them available as soon as possible. Amid large-scale federal employee furloughs during the government shutdown, CMS temporarily brought back all its workers Monday, in part to help manage the ACA open enrollment period. And that's the news at this hour. Be sure to tune in for the Othering podcast at 5 today and at its new time on Saturday and Sunday at 3:30. It's the perfect podcast for the LGBTQ+ community and for those who are living with disabilities. PEP Radio is available on the Live 365 app, the PEP Radio page at paequality.com, Roku, and Alexa. Up next, we have the Meadville area weather forecast here on PEP Radio.